and demonstrate that they are following the sessions with you. So today, as you know, this is session 8. We're going to be focusing on the ethics, right? The ethics of interpreters. And basically, what I would like you to tell me is whether you actually watched the video, which is a very long video, right? Wow, 3 hours video. And and if you have taken a look at the documents that I've shared, and of course, regarding the ethics, especially the internal ethics, right, which is are the ones that we need to be concerned of. Okay. So, for example, can you tell me one element that is mentioned in the code of ethics, the standard code of ethics, in the long video that I shared? Can anybody tell me or mention what? Yes, Santiago, go ahead.
Okay, at the first of the video, talk about the responsibility of interpreters, and there are 3 points. And the coins, what are talking about the answer, what are the standard codes? There are I noticed there are 8. Number 1, accuracy, cultural sensibility, confidentiality, disclose, proficiency, compensation, non-discrimination and conflicts of interest, and professional demeanor.
Demeanor, yeah. So do you understand all of them? Do you understand well what they mean? Yep.
Disclose,
what do you understand? What do you guys understand by disclosure? Yes. Jessica Elizabeth Hernandez, you say that your microphone doesn't work. Okay, I can see you anyway. I can see you. Right. Yeah. What do you mean by disclose? Yes. Can anybody explain that?
I think it's about the information that you are receiving in the interpretation. You can speak about it in public and with other people, so discuss or giving opinions for this information.
So remember that you're being hired. Thank you, Erica. You're being hired to, interpret. Yes, to act as a bridge, as a link between two groups maybe, or one person and another person. So you're not supposed to provide any opinion, any reaction, sentimental reaction, whatever, or share that opinion with anybody else, because that's not, you're not being hired for that. You're just being hired to just communicate, create the link, the bridge between the two people, the two parts. So like you said, Erika, you're not supposed to actually comment of what you've learned, of whatever you found out, any kind of information that is not of your concern, okay? Not your business. It's just, you're just there to, link and provide, of course, interpret. That's it. Anything else? Anything else? What about demeanor? Demeanor. What does it mean? Demeanor. Demeanor. At the end, it says demeanor. How did you understand demeanor? No?
Like the behavior?
Behavior? Okay. Yes, Ilse, can you please explain that?
I think it's related to how we should act when we are going to performance and interpretation. And it mentions something about being unbiased when we are going to interpret it, when we are going to interpret, and it's like being professional with our work.
Okay. Yeah, it has to do a lot of professionalism. That's right. But demeanor especially has to do with behavior and appearance, right?
Dress.
Yes, appearance, how well you are supposed to be dressed. Well, I'm not that good at that, you know. I'm always, you know, really a lousy dresser. Anyway, my outfit isn't the best one, but yes, every time you're going to show up, because you're going to be seen, normally you're going to be seen on stage, maybe you're going to be seen by many people, just as if you were the presenter most of the time, right? So just imagine an interview of a famous person, where you're going to be behind the person, yeah, right, and the camera will be practically you know, zooming on you too. So you need to be well dressed, right, and be professional. That's practically what the word demeanor means. So behave and uh, have a good appearance, right? So maybe you girls, maybe, you know, you got well combed and well, you know, made up, you know, makeup and so on. We guys maybe well dressed with a suit, yes, and a tie, maybe if possible, right? If so, that is about one of the our responsibilities as interpreters. Yes, to be professionals. Aha. So that's the standards, the standard ethics. Is there any other one that caught your attention from the video? I'm still talking about the video.
The cultural sensitivity.
Yes. Aha. So how do you understand the part?
That we had
Sensitivity
to
part.
be open. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You have to respect the difference between cultures, and you have to be open-minded and don't be critical or judgmental about some people or their opinions, because their culture are different from the one we have as a person.
Fine. And that happens especially because every single interpreter as an individual has or carries, you know, a culture, a cultural load. So you Mexicans, I'm Mexican. I carry with me a cultural load. So my beliefs are, of course, strongly influenced by my country, my people, you know, where I am from, etc. So maybe you are most of us are Christians, right? Not Muslims. So we believe in one. Most of us have a belief, and we may happen to interpret somebody from a different religion, right? Maybe a Jewish, maybe a Muslim. I don't know, a Tibetan or whatever, you know, from Hare Krishna or whatever. So if we happen to be the interpreters of those cultures, we need to respect. Yeah. Although we don't believe in the same, don't share the same beliefs, we need to respect as much as possible. I mean, not as much as possible, but a lot, really. Draw the line between what I believe and what I am interpreting. Okay. So I happen to think about, for example, I don't know if you've seen these videos or you have attended, or maybe one of you is religious, and you have invited a preacher from the United States, right, to your church. Yeah, and this preacher starts, you know, preaching. So Jesus Christ came to earth to save us. So you got to practically do the same, although you're an atheist, even though you don't believe in God, maybe, but you have to do the same thing, right? You have to transmit the same message with maybe the same emotions, right? Same feelings, as if you believed, just like the preacher. So what? So well, the preacher comes from a Muslim country and he's speaking about, you know, their God, Allah. Allah is, you know, the God of everyone. So you got to say that too in Spanish, because although you don't believe in Allah, you will have to sort of interpret as if you were a believer, a true believer. So that's important. That's important. Respect others' beliefs. And we're speaking about genders, for example, differences in in preferences and so on. You'd have to respect all those things. Yeah, you don't have to say or claim or make a gesture, anything. All right. Anything else that caught your attention from the standard code of ethics?
Teacher, about compensation, the part of compensation, I did not understand where or which scenario someone could offer a translator, well, an interpreter, an extra charge for money. So, if you could
Yeah.
give an example.
Yeah, okay. Well, it turns out that you may be required, especially in the United States, where there is plenty of, criminals being judged by their crimes, of course. And most of those criminals may come from a Spanish-speaking country, Latin American country, right? So sometimes what normally happens is that since you're Mexican and the criminal is also Mexican, may want to, I don't know, try to offer you like a bribery, bribe you because don't say this or try not to say this the same way I said, or try to interpret it in a different way so that the judge or the lawyers, the attorneys do not blame me in such a way that I will be prosecuted, So maybe there's other cases in which you are contacted by the criminal, maybe. Yes, and because you're Mexicans and he's like he happens to come from Villahermosa too. Hey, you really? Oh my God, where from? I don't know. That's I can't believe it. Yeah. So maybe you're going to, hey, échame la mano, ¿no? Ya sabes, o sea, no, dile al juez que no lo quería yo matar, pues. Okay, so please tell him that it was not my intention. Okay, so I mean, maybe these kinds of things, so it's important that we bear in mind this. This happens very often that the interpreter sort of feels identified with the interpretee, right? And sometimes when we are working in courts, especially in the United States, that the criminal or the accused may be a Mexican just like you, just like we are, and we sort of, hey, what's up, mate? You have to really avoid all these kinds of things, not to be biased, not to be by any chance, by any moment, and do not demonstrate that at no point. Like you sort of understand yourself, get along with, yeah. Don't do that. Remain as neutral as possible, right? So that there is no misunderstanding or misinterpreting between from the other part that you may be telling lies or sort of cheating on what you're interpreting. Okay, I don't know if you understand this, Cecilio.
Yes, I did.
Okay, so this may be the case in which interpreters could be bribed, yeah, by a maybe a criminal, a prisoner, whatever. Anything else? Yes, Hail Homari.
Yes, I remember that I was reading a manga, and the translator changed the whole story to suit her convenience, just for the couple she liked will stay together, just for that
Wow.
reason.
Of course, they should not do that, okay? That's exactly what we need to take into account. If we are going to be like working for, if you're a freelance, maybe the consequences will be only for you, right? As an individual. If you're a freelance interpreter, you don't have any kind of link or any kind of compromise with an agency. Well, you're going to pay the consequences of that. But if you work for an agency, okay, you've been hired for an agency, so be careful with that because your agency could also be prosecuted, right? Not only you, but also the agency. So of course you can be fired from the agency, but problem is that the agency will have to, I don't know, look for a way to overcome that situation, right? Because you produced or you provoked a problem. So you got to be very careful. Do not act in a biased way. That's the point, right? So anything else? I would like to move into the document. Okay. So I've shared a document, and I would like to show it to you. Maybe don't know if you have already had time to read it, but if you haven't, we're going to check it together very briefly. Of course, I don't want to read it for you, but I wanted just to have a look at it all together. So this is the Code of Ethics for Interpreters and Translators employed by the Mechanism for International Criminal Tribunals. Okay, I would like you to read it very carefully, attentively, and Article 1 has to do with definitions. Of course, how an interpreter is supposed to be put, right? Of course, by the tribunal, and what LSS, for example, stand for, the Language Support Services of the Mechanism, means the agency. I would call it like the agency you're working for, and the translators, of course, different to the interpreters. You see that translate. You may also be the translator. Okay, so maybe you've been hired as both, as an interpreter and as a translator. It all depends. So either you are only an interpreter or only a translator, or both. So look at this general application where it's supposed to be applied. Okay, and professional conduct, very important. It has to do, of course, with what you've watched in the video, right? Standards of conduct. So how you are expected to behave, right? Professional integrity and dignity, very important to understand too. One of them has to do with the solicit or accept any gratuities or other consideration, benefit, or advantage of any kind. That's exactly what Cecilia was talking about, right? Reliability, right? Shall adhere to appointment times and deadlines, right? Otherwise, remember, appointments and deadlines. So have to be on time. If it is at 8 o'clock, we need to be at 8 o'clock or even before. So don't be two Mexicans like we said 8 o'clock and we are there at 20 past 8. Be careful with that, please. I mean, we really need to demonstrate that we respect. We are professionals, of course, and that we respect deadlines and appointment times. Okay, mind your language, please. Mind your language. Do not say any kind of swearing or anything. So the mechanism, confidentiality, duty to what the mechanism, right? Of course, the mechanism has to do with the agency maybe you've been hired by. So you have general obligations. You've got to be discreet. We said anything that you have interpreted should not or must not, I would say, must not be uttered anywhere else but in the place or the venue you are supposed to use it, right? Do not comment, do not say or exchange any information with anybody else. All right, and lawyer-client privilege, continuation of obligations, impartiality, strictest impartiality in the discharge of their duties. What does it mean? Okay, what do you mean by impartiality, guys? What do you understand by that? Does anybody have any idea of what impartiality means? Being impartial.
Be neutral and unbiased.
Right, being neutral, unbiased, right? Although you believe that the accused person is innocent, yeah, it doesn't matter if whatever you believe, even if it's if somebody you know a friend of yours, or maybe a neighbor, you know him or her, I know he's innocent, he's not guilty. Well, it doesn't matter what you believe, you don't have to act or behave in a manner that demonstrates that you are favoring that person, right? So you need to rely on as impartially as possible. Okay. No legal advice. Okay. Frankly disclose their supervisor any actual apparent conflict of interest. All right, there you go. Any actual or apparent conflict of interest. Huh? So like I said, it is your brother who's been, I don't know, hopefully not. Sorry, but I can't do this. It's my brother. So be as honest as possible, please. Avoid any kind of conflict of interests. That's my father, that's my aunt, that's my, I don't know, whatever. Okay, my best friend. So try to avoid any kind of thing and tell, of course, disclose, right, your supervisor about this. Proficiency. So important, the competence. What do you understand by this? Competence, proficiency, level of expertise. How could you understand this part? How do you interpret that? Any ideas?
Like about a preparation or a background knowledge?
Cecilio, could you repeat that, please?
Yes, about a preparation and a background knowledge.
Of course. How well prepared are you, right, to carry out the task? So, did you just say yes because you think you can do it, or is it really? I mean, is it a fact that you can do it? I mean, are you really well prepared with the vocabulary and the expertise in that particular domain, right? So your fluent your proficiency also has to do with the language, right? Your language proficiency. Are you sufficiently prepared in Spanish as well, not only in English, in Spanish, concerning that vocabulary in Spanish, and so on, right? Preparation. Okay, so necessary preparation, of course, has to do with what you have to do before carrying out the interpretation. Truth and completeness, uncertainty, transmission and comprehension, and clear transmission. Okay, so your speech is clearly heard and understood by their audience. Of course, that you speak clearly, you utter. Yeah, you utter as clearly as possible, as loudly as possible, and of course your pronunciation is really at its best, right? I mean, I'm speaking about not only, of course, pronunciation in Spanish, but also in English, because you're going to be required to interpret from both sides. Okay, so you have to mind your pronunciation as much as you can. So practice pronunciation. It's very important that your pronunciation, especially as interpreters, is accurate and of course as expected by the listeners. Sometimes the listeners are people that do not like our Spanish accents, especially if they're not only because of the accent, but especially because of the mispronunciation, right? That we may say, for example, a word like you say, interpreters shall ensure where practicable their speech is clearly heard, understood by their audience. Just imagine that. I mean, if your audience are people that well-prepared people, right? Imagine that they're judges or attorneys, right? you know, American attorneys, or they may be don't know, researchers, right, or whatever. I mean, think about CEOs of a company, people that were very well prepared. So they will feel annoyed by any kind of pronunciation of a kind. So you need to really practice a lot your pronunciation. Okay. So in both cases, in Spanish, of course, we don't need to practice our pronunciation, but especially to modulate our accent, right? Especially if we work with, like I said before, gente con cierto nivel de grado de preparación académica, right? Vamos a modular entonces el acento, yo soy de Choco, entonces no voy a decir, bueno, pues vamos a entender estas cláusulas que vamos a, right? It's okay. I mean, I'm proud of my accent. I'm proud of my origins. But if if I'm interpreting this way to people that are well prepared and are not Tabascans, imagine they may come from Mexico or from Sonora or whatever, so they will sort of feel a little bit annoyed with my accent. Okay, so maybe modulate my accent into a more standard version of Spanish, right? Bueno, vamos a hablar en esta ocasión de estas cláusulas que estamos por analizar, puesto que el juez determina, you see. So I'm not I'm proud of being Tabascan. You know, that doesn't mean I have to say, bueno, pues vamos a analizar las cláusulas que el juez, just imagine that, right? So we got to modulate their accents too. So in order to render a very, let's say, high quality message and high quality service. Right. Now, I would like you to, before we go, I would like you to focus on one of these, especially the competence, level of expertise, A, B, and C. Read them carefully, and I would like you to, first, I'm going to ask somebody to read aloud in English. So we check pronunciation, okay? And number two, I'm going to say, ask somebody else to side translate that into Spanish. Okay, I'm going to give you a couple of minutes. Read, check pronunciation, and somebody else is going to side translate. Check if you got a dictionary there. Check in the dictionary, or you know, an online dictionary if there is a word you don't understand. I'll see you in a couple of minutes. Are you ready? Not yet.
Not yet, teacher.
Okay, keep on, keep on. There's only A, B, and C. let's begin with somebody who's going to read in English, okay? So that same person will not side translate. I'm just going to ask somebody to read it for everyone. So what about Diana Patricia Lovato? Could you read the first line, please?
Yes. Article 8, competence, level of expertise. Interpreters and translators shall only accept assignments that they are competent to perform.
Thank you. Thank you. Right, very good. Very good pronunciation, Diana. Just this word, remember, is pronounced expertise. Okay? Expertise. Just make this little correction. Very good, Diana. Thank you. Ilse Naomi, could you side translate that, please?
Sure. Los intérpretes y traductores deben aceptar solo trabajos para los que se consideren capaces.
Okay, fine. Very good. What about the name of the article and the number?
Perdón. Bueno, número 1, nivel de experiencia.
Is expertise translated as experiencia? No. How would you translate expertise then?
As I don't know, to be honest.
Very good. That's a very good start. You were being honest. How would you translate expertise, guys?
In some documents in Spanish, I read expertise. I think it's pericia or something like that.
Conocimiento, habilidad.
Conocimiento, sabiduría.
So in this case, you would translate it nivel de conocimientos, ¿sí? O capacidad, right? Okay. Fine, thank you. So what about number 2? Letter B, please. Hael Homari, could you please read that in English?
Yes. During the course of assignment, it becomes part to the interpreters and translators that expertise beyond their technical language competence is required. They shall offer the withdraw from the assignment.
Thank you. Thank you. Good indeed. Just this word, you should pronounce it like assignment. Okay? And this word, apparent. Yeah. Assignment and apparent. Thank you. Thank you. Cecilio, could you please side translate that? Sorry.
Yes. Okay. Let it be. Ay, perdón. Si en el transcurso del trabajo se vuelve aparente que el intérprete o traductor, no, si el trabajo de, ya me confundí. If it becomes
Once again, go ahead.
Okay. Si durante el transcurso del trabajo se vuelve aparente para el intérprete y traductor que su experiencia está por encima de el nivel técnico del lenguaje requerido, deberán entonces ofrecer retirarse de la tarea, del trabajo.
Okay. Yeah, okay. So I think you had some problems with becomes apparent, okay? Se vuelve aparente. No es tanto que se vuelva aparente, sino es evidente, ¿sí? Sí, en este caso, durante el trabajo, ¿sí? Durante la asignación, ¿sí? O el trabajo, es evidente para el intérprete y el traductor que su nivel de conocimiento técnico o su competencia del lenguaje requerido, ¿sí? No está más allá, vamos a decirlo, de su competencia, ¿sí? Pues deberá ofrecer, ¿sí? O deberá en este caso, retirarse de la asignación. ¿Sí? Jael. Yes, Jael.
El if become a parent se podría traducir como se percatan o cosas así.
Sí, sí, es
O se da
evidente
cuenta de.
para el intérprete. Si se percata, así es, puede percatarse, así es. Puede ser también como becomes a parent, quiere decir que te percates. ¿Sí? Entonces, porque acuérdense que estas reglas aplican para ustedes, para nosotros los intérpretes. Entonces, si te das cuenta, o darse cuenta también, que el nivel de tecnicismo y de vocabularios, ¿sí? Va más allá de lo que tú eres capaz de o lograrías desempeñar, bueno, pues ofrece a tus empleadores un cambio, ¿sí? O como digamos un relevo, alguien que sepa más que tú, alguien que esté más preparado en esa área. Es posible que esto suceda porque decíamos que hay agencias que contratan intérpretes, pero a veces los intérpretes están más mm, fogueados, vamos a llamarle así, en ciertas áreas, ¿no? Vamos a decir, José Santiago está fogueadísimo en el área del gas y el petróleo, sí, pero lo meten a interpretar asuntos de ganadería, pues lo veo que empieza a cascabelear, ¿no? Espérate, te hubieras dicho, muchacho, ¿sí? Yo lo escuché perfectamente en la conferencia del gas y el petróleo, pero lo metemos a ganadería y pues no sabe ni cómo decir no sé, en inglés, novillo, ¿no? O sea, ay, Dios mío, cómo decía novillo, ¿no? ¿Ok? Entonces, eso es un asunto que hay que saber. Yo soy bueno, yo en ganadería, yo soy bueno. Ok, entonces tiene José Santiago que decir si es para él es evidente que no se va a poder mucho, si es un terreno nuevo, pues aquí el consejo es que él pues diga, ¿saben qué? Yo prefiero que lo haga Jael Komari, que está más fogueada en el asunto de la ganadería, y yo voy a estar pues asistiéndola, sobre todo para que él empiece también a entrar en esa área, ¿no? So that's the point. That's a bit the point. Right. Now, let's see. Let's finish with that one. Griselda, please. Esmeralda.
Yes, Professor. Is the responsibility of interpreters and translators to ensure that the conditions under which they operate facilitate communication in the event that an external element, including technical hindrances, such as poor quality, sound, and what is the pronunciation?
Illegible.
Illegible.
Yeah.
Photocopies interference with the uh, uh,
Accuracy.
accuracy or the competenceness.
Completeness.
I'm sorry, I'm dyslexic. Completeness of their interpretation or translation, they shall inform the listeners or readers promptly.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay, let's work on some words. Remember that in the event that external element, including technical hindrances, okay, such as poor quality sound. Remember, make it ow, 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 not o, but ow. Illegible photocopies interferes with the accuracy. Remember, you got to make the stress here, accuracy, yeah, of the completeness or the complete, because the word is complete, completeness of the interpretation translation. Okay, they shall inform the listeners and readers promptly. Okay, so work on these words and pronunciation of these words. Erika Pau, could you please help us sight translating?
I can't read very well the test because I am on my phone, but I will try.
Okay, give it a try. Okay, let's see.
Es responsabilidad de los intérpretes y traductores asegurarse que las condiciones en las que opere,
Ajá,
no sé,
ajá.
faciliten la comunicación y en caso de que un elemento externo, incluyendo, no sé cómo traducir,
Problemas técnicos, problemas técnicos.
problemas técnicos,
Ujú.
como mala calidad de sonido o fotocopias ilegibles, interfiera con la exactitud o integridad de su interpretación o su traducción. Ellos deberán informar a sus oyentes o lectores prontamente.
Prontamente. Ok, thank you. Ok. Deberán informarlo inmediatamente a su audiencia. Prontamente. Okay, that's fine. That's good. Anyway, right. That was very good indeed. That was very good. Yeah, it was very good. Sí, acuérdense que hindrances es como problemas, dificultades, ¿ok? Y aquí a sus oyentes no, se dice a su audiencia, ¿sí? Recordemos que estamos hablando de una audiencia, la gente que te escucha, ¿sí? Informárselo a su audiencia o a sus lectores, ¿ok? Well, fine. Entonces, acuérdense del prontamente, bueno, de manera inmediata o inmediatamente. Okay, fine, fine. Thank you so much indeed. So, thank you, Erica. That was a very good try indeed. That was very good indeed. Anyway, so these are practically some, I really recommend, I strongly recommend that you read each one of them, yes, and to, of course, to try to sight translate them into Spanish, just like we did today, right? So my piece of advice is that you try sight translating. This is part of, I think that was part of your what I'm asking you to do. I don't know if I can see that. Yes, it says read the text, make personal reflection. Choose one, sight translated. Yeah, record your voice. That's a point. So that's practically what we did today, but you need to record your voice. Remember, practice as many times as possible and then provide your best product, okay? Your best translation you can do, okay? The interpretation you can do. Thank you very much indeed. I appreciate your time and I'll see you next after the holidays. Enjoy, please. Enjoy. Take advantage. Get some tanned. Right. I need to see the change of color. Right. Okay. And thank you so much. Have a good day. Bye.
The same,
Sí.
professor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Go to